Samson told the mice to collect all the sort of rotten and old food that they could find. He wanted to use it in order to catch the rats, and rats love rotten food. So the mice and Samson went about to collect the food. They got some from bins. They stole some from a very scary looking dog while he was asleep. I think they're stealing his biscuits. Very brave. They stole someone's picnic, and they even stole the crumbs that a lady was feeding the birds. They got absolutely loads of rotten food and old food. The next thing to do was to take all that food down to the riverbank, and they also took the old doll's house from the playroom. I wonder what Samson's plan was. The mice floated the doll's house onto the edge of the river, and then they filled it up with all the dodgy food. Is anyone getting a good idea of what Samson's plan is? Let's have a look. Samson's plan was to trick the rats into going into the doll's house by putting lots of yummy old rotten food in there for them, and then he was going to see if they could float that doll's house off while all the rats were on there. Very clever. This is what it says. Grand opening today. Riverside Restaurant. Looks quite inviting. If I was a rat and I liked eating dodgy food, then I'd probably loved it. Let's see what the rats thought. The rats were not suspicious at all. They also thought it was an amazing idea. They were so excited, they rushed down to the river. They threw themselves in the door, fighting each other and shoving because they had very bad manners. We know you shouldn't push and shove to get what you want, but these rats had not been taught that. Look at them. And then they started filling up on all that food. Their table manners were very bad. What would your parents think if you acted like that at the table? Poor rats. Their parents had not brought them up very well. It was time for the cunning plan. Quickly, Samson and the mice ran off the floating restaurant, and they untied the ropes, and they pushed it, and off it floated. There was one problem. No one had counted all the mice to make sure that everyone who went on the restaurant came off the restaurant. There were 2 mice left behind. This one was called Arthur and this one was called Humphrey. The rats were so angry when they saw that they'd been left to float down the river away from the lovely church, even though they did have lots of food to eat. But they were mad. And they found Humphrey and Arthur and they said, we're going to get our revenge and we're going to throw them off this thing and make them drown in the river. So they started chasing them. But in order to throw Humphrey and Arthur into the river, the rats needed to catch them. And Humphrey and Arthur turned out to be very quick, especially when there was a risk of getting thrown in the river if they were caught. They dodged this way and that way. They ran and ran. Finally, they ran out of places to run. Look, they've run to the very top of the roof. And I think the rats are going to come out after them. Oh no. But look, there's Samson. Maybe he's got a plan to help them, because I hope he does. Otherwise, I think Humphrey and Arthur are going to go for a swim. and mice can't swim. Uh-oh. Samson saw that there was a tree that came over the river. He thought, if I can climb up that tree, maybe I can grab Humphrey and Arthur off the top of the doll's house. He climbed up the tree, he ran along a branch, and then he got as close to the river as he could. Here comes the doll's house, and look, there's Samson hanging off the branch with all of his church mice friends. They needed all their weight to help weigh the branch down to near the doll's house. You know what? They were just in the nick of time because look, Humphrey and Arthur managed to grab hold of Samson's tail just when the rats were coming to get them. So Humphrey and Arthur were safe. Uh-oh. They were safe here, but suddenly the branch that Samson was holding snapped. Oh no! Samson started sinking down towards the water. Look at that big fish. He doesn't look very friendly. What will happen next? Phew! A boat came along, just in the nick of time. Samson and the mice landed on the boat. And look, it's a nice couple here. They look friendly. Looks like they like cats and mice. Yes, they definitely like cats. Maybe a bit more than cats like them. Samson doesn't look very happy, does he? Oh, look at the mice. They're being a bit cheeky. Eating up the packed lunch there, I think. One of them's going in the bottle here. Dear me. The man and the lady took them all the way back to their church. And my, what a mess it was. The rats had left it an absolute disgrace. So they spent lots of time tidying it up and making it nice again. And that is the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. Next time you come and visit me, you can have a look at the book and read the story yourself. Bye children, lots of love from Auntie Jane.